Thank you for joining us back. We're getting into it, and we're getting into the third matchup now. If you weren't ready for the 8th and ninth teams to face off last matchup between TTK and Nocturnes, we'll get ready. We've got West Garfield Park taking out Outlast. These are the 10th and 11th teams. Cookies, we'll start with West Garfield Park. Maybe not a letdown as they were an unknown quantity coming into this stage, but still not where you want to see your team.
West Garfield Park. They wish they were Took the Kids. What's funny is they're like a worse version of that team in every way right now at this juncture. And that cannot continue. Biologic, you are supposed to lead this team to the promised land. You were supposed to be the knight in shining armor. But it's really Snake that's kind of showing out. And then there's not much else going for this team. Maybe today, this will be a good opportunity for them to play better as a team. Right? Maybe go back to the basics, play better as a team. Maybe tone down the wrinkles. It's almost like there's too many wrinkles. Bio's playing like 100 operators. Twist ain't even bringing the right operators. Snake's just hopping in because he feels like he has to carry. You know, at some point, it's just like, what do they need to do to just get better? You know, and just dumb it down and do things the right way, you know? Get back.
They need to fix something. At least start with like one thing at a time. Get it together.
Yeah.
I think,
but Outlast.
Yeah, I was about to say, but for at least for Outlast, we know what they need to fix, and it's always just been down to their attacks. They have talent on their team. We've seen them play well. Tra and Woos, we were saying that with they're a dynamic duo. They can be absolutely crazy. Through quals, through relegations, they've been great. But Woos has been struggling just a little bit ever since we hit the actual league. Don't know if it's the stream shakes, which, you know, that can't happen when you have new players coming in, but you still have a core three that has played Challenger League before and has had some pretty decent upsets against big teams. That's Nomad, who now goes by Blank, Atheno, as well as JWL. This team is talented. They shouldn't be, I guess both of these teams, that's going to be like the story of the game, is both these teams can be doing better, but they're just making mistakes at very critical levels, especially on the attacks.
Now, Cookies, I'm going to need you to expand on what you started to touch on with West Garfield Park, because there's a lot to unpack. Let's be honest. Let's be real.
That's funny. Look inwardly. You know, it's just like, look inwardly into your soul and cleanse your inner chakras to understand what in the world you're doing wrong, right? Their op lineups just stink. I'm watching Barring walk around with Knock. I'm watching Bio on Zoph. Valor used to be an Ash main, and he's playing Thermite. And guess what? It shows. Valor looks lost half the time on Hard Breach. It's annoying to watch sometimes. You know what? Team game, right? Play the objective. PTFO, like it's Battlefield, you know? I think that's the way that they can potentially turn things around because, like, for example, Connor, you know what round I'm talking about. Valor has a case in his hand. It's a 3v2. All you got to do is play the objective. Plant the bomb.
Hold the F key. Instead, he pressed the W key and sprinted at somebody.
And I know somebody made that call or whatever. Just plant the bomb, play the objective, right? I think that's how they turn things around. And that improves their fortunes, like, by default, right? Typically.
There's been so many thrown rounds for West Garfield Park, whether it's miscommunications, it's missed calls from the IGL, the overall decision making. There's been so many rounds that you look on paper and you're going, how do they lose this? How do they lose this at all? Even going back to Playday number 1, they blew 3 straight match points with man advantage against Took the Kids. End up losing in overtime on that match.
Yeah.
That kind of set the entire precedent for their season. They still haven't really reclaimed any glory. They took the heist to Max OT in a game from Bio, was comparing it to the Exet Beast Coast absolute atrocity.
And the thing is, I would say that it exceeds it. What an atrocious game that was. But yes, if you're Outlast, on the other hand, it's very apparent West Garfield Park is... I don't even know if it's like you can bring them to a simple map, because it's like they can play Oregon decently, right? They should have beaten Took the Kids. I took the Kids team.
But they didn't.
I took the Kids team that looks strong.
Nobody
right now,
can.
Right?
No one can do it right now.
It's so strange, right? Technically, right, you should be able to beat West Garfield Park very convincingly in those maps, but it's like they've played themselves out of those wins. And maybe Outlast should have a chance at that in that regard, maybe going to a simpler map. But yeah, I think both of these teams could play the objective better. That goes without saying.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things as well is if you go to a more simple map, that kind of helps Outlast with their attacks, which has just been the giant, massive thorn in their side. We even saw them finally have success on Chalet, a more attacker-sided map. So maybe if a clubhouse is thrown into the fray as well, where everybody knows what the heck they're supposed to do on their attacks, they can win those rounds. And then their defensive setups are just interesting enough that they flash a little bit of variety, a little bit of spice that maybe West Garfield won't be ready for.
Potentially, yeah.
This matchup could definitely use a little bit of spice if we want to get things going. Cookies, if it's all right with you, can I throw the map veto to you, or what are we doing here? Is it Connor now, or
no? Give it to
you. You were talking about quitting before, but so I just want to.
I'm suffering, right? there's this huge, long-winded sentence it's paragraph. I have to speak in paragraphs. I'm sick. I'm ill. West Garfield Park, I guess, is so sick of Skyscraper they're just never going to play it, I guess. I would have liked to see it. That's something I've been praying for from a team like this. You've got this X-Pro, or maybe, you dry run the new map so you have an advantage versus these Challenge League teams. But no. Instant ban. Meanwhile, Outlast, on the other hand, I already talked about how maybe they want to keep the simple maps up as our critical point of instant ban in Clubhouse. Have you seen anything that would lead you to believe West Garfield Park has a crazy clubhouse? I don't know. Maybe Outlast. No. Maybe that's more of Outlast looking inwardly and banning it for their own.
I guess the only thing would be that Snake is kind of nasty on club.
True.
But if you're just scared of Snake, he's gonna frag on any map. You just try to have to mitigate his impact overall.
I don't,
taking down Cafe.
I don't see Oregon yet. I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, I don't see Oregon yet. I think it might survive to the last little bit. It's going to be a 50-50 between Oregon and Villa. We either get Oregon or we get a repeat Villa. It's a lose-lose situation, but it's the lesser of two evils at least. We'll go to Villa, which Outlast historically has seen some success in past iterations of the roster, as well as a good showing against Okami or Hashiraz, what they were going under in the relegations match.
Yeah, and that was, on film. I guess West Garfield Park's had time to look at this, look it over, see how they want to approach it. And honestly, it's going to be interesting. They've played a whole lot of bank first couple of games. It's good to see them on a refreshing, landscape.
Well, going back to Villa now, 2 matches in a row. 2 teams that are closely matched as far as the standings are concerned. Connor, are we going to see similar results, or do we have 2 teams that are maybe a little more separated than the scoreboard would project?
I think this is going to be a messy, gritty, really close game.
Okay.
I do think that Outlast will take it. Personally, I just do not think I will ever vote for West Garfield Park again because they keep on failing me every step of the way. And also,
I didn't see links there.
Shout out to Carter.
I was saying, I didn't see that one. I was like, oh my goodness.
Taking a bullet.
Yeah, he took one for the team, really hoping that our 1 in 35 record of unanimous teams, it does stop eventually, but today we have that one odd man out, so hopefully Outlast should get their first regulation win.
This is pretty incredible, though, looking at these statistics, that we are so close. All the other stages, we would have someone will be 30% up, another person will be 30% down, but we're all within, 11% stretch between Cookies.
It's like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah. Very, very good. Cookies, you are in the lead, though, so I'll defer to you. Outlast, do you think they've got the edge?
I voted for them.
Keep in mind, they're the 11th. They're the 11th place team. West Garfield Park is the 10th place team, so...
All I know is this: the Outlast Villa is very perturbing. It used to be perturbing. In the immediate current present time, it is very perturbing. I'm gonna let you Google perturbing and learn what it means. Well, all I know,
at least we know how to pronounce it because you've said it 8 times.
All I know is Outlast is gonna perplex West Garfield here.
Oh, he's throwing out all the P words.
I like Outlast here. I just like their team more. I think they're more oiled and lubricated. What about you, Steps?
You know, I just like how he came out here and put a very promising prediction forward. The game might be perplexing and perturbing, but at the end of the day,
Yes.
Outlast will prevail.
Okay.
Prevail.
That's about it.
Okay.
Perturbing, perplexing. These predictions are paramount to our percentages. There we go. Lots and lots of P words.
There we go.
But Connor, before we get into it, just play devil's advocate. Be Lynx's advocate right now. West Garfield Park, if they've got a chance right now, why are they going to be able to do it?
Because you look at the roster on paper.
The roster on paper.
The
that's what it's
roster
all
on
about.
paper, and you're like, how are they losing games? They have every piece of the puzzle. You have a pro league IGL. You have Barring with a lot of experience. Valor, who's a solid player, Mr. Courageous Carl himself, as well as Snake doing the absolute most for his team, and Twist, an up and coming player. They should be good. They should be good, but we just haven't seen it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and they're going to just come out and look absolutely amazing, because it's something that I do want. But it's the tough love that we have to send West Garfield's Park's way. So hopefully they'll wake up.
It would be good for the league. Let's just hope that those are 5 pieces of the same puzzle and they don't have 5 completely different pieces, because then you're never going to assemble it. But they are ready to play right now. We are going to get right into it. Villa, 2 times in a row now. West Garfield Park taking on Outlast.
Hello, everyone. Apparently, a lot of perturbation happening on CJ's side of the desk, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little anxious about this game too. 1, I'm going to Villa for the 2nd time in a row. I'm never happy about that. 2, I don't know how this game is gonna go. Like, are we gonna see the Outlast that can attack, or is this gonna be a defender-sided Villa and they go down 5-1 again? Is Snake gonna carry? Or is Snake going to be middle of the pack like he is against most of the top teams in this league? There's a whole lot of ways this can go.
I did flip a coin last time. Carter did ask me about it, and the coin lied both ways. It was not correct nor fully lying. We didn't have Snake do fantastic on the entry, but they still lost the game. So it's got to be more of that team aspect. I feel like that has always been the biggest thing so far for West Garfield, is the fact that their team play is just sometimes non-existent, and they have to rely on that clutch factor too often to have it be more of a willing vote, in my mind, to think that they're going to win this matchup. So far for Bands, though, things look still pretty normal. Nomad, we didn't see that last time, but she's very strong on Villa for that actual flank watch, so now the roam game be much more prominent. Makes sense. And besides that Nomad ban, everything else is the exact same what we saw last time. Thatcher, Valk, Mira, normal stuff.
Interesting that Outlast have banned Nomad. Because as we know, Outlast love 0. But Athenos on Finca, oh my god, Athanos is doing it.
Whoa.
Bro, Athena's about to go crazy on the LMG. I promise. West Garfield, on the other hand, they're going AVG first, and they are going to do exactly what we saw in the previous map, like Nocturne's was. They have Smoke and Tachanka. Whole lot of delay power at their fingertips. They even got, the Malusi just for added delay. Slow people down a bit. You got the mute for that drone denial. Outlast have 1 soul hard breacher. Hibana is left up, so we will probably see her run every single round. I would be surprised, very surprised if we don't. We also have Woo's not on Zofia. That's been his main operator this entire season thus far. He's got that LMG, but he's actually going to toss that over to Blank now.
Interesting. Hopefully it's not going to be a weird game like we saw last time. Maybe the word of the day in this best of 1 is going to be interesting. Look
at the teams playing. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to have a little bit of hopium, I guess, before we even start the matchup. Tra is going to actually go and repick off on the Buck last second. So maybe instead of having that clear into Master leading through 90 and then, Skull Door and 90 Hall Direct, you might see more of a main take, because they've got tons of util to clear that shield. All they would need to really do is maybe try to, isolate Barring, get super aggressive on him. You can sometimes kind of walk to that smoke canister, still kill the smoke because he's falling back, and that's one of your main sets of stall off the board for the defense. So would not be a bad idea. But a rehost being called, I wonder why.
That was called 30 seconds into action phase, so I don't know if the admins are going to let that through. Of course, it is down to the admins, and they're asked for the reason. So we'll have to see. As for now, before the decision is made, the typical, you typically just play the round out as normal. Unfortunately, Barring had crashed, but the rehost was, in fact, called too late. So 2 minutes on the clock. Outlast are going to be up 5v4. Never mind. Okay.
What even just... Should we just let the round, play for itself? I don't... What? What is
All right.
this? We're in a
Woos is now in a 1 versus 2. He's taken main stairs, but at what cost? Now that Malusi's right behind the wall, Valor is holding his cross behind a shield. Woo still has plenty of utility, but remember, Twist had ADSs. They could be in sight, stopping any nades or Gaunt 6s from going down. He has a slight idea of where Snake might be. He'll land a beautiful shot. Now it's a 1v1 against Valor. Gaunt 6 coming out instead. He'll opt for the nade, looking to deal damage. The shield will go down, but the Chanka has since repositioned. He's got 12 shots still from his Shumika launcher. Woos is going to start droning. He knows he has time. He has over a minute to play with as Valor now starts sending out that Sumika, not wanting Woos to be able to act off that info. Valor places himself behind the bar and actually looks to push out now. Instead, hops up on the table, getting a slight off angle above maps. Woos will start to walk in, and he'll see what...
All right.
Don't know what happened there.
I don't think I know either.
But they trade damage, I guess. And Valor comes away worse for wear. Woos has case, but if he starts planting, he'll likely fall victim to those fires. Nade gets sent in. This could land, but no. It goes too close. Beginning this plant, it's already halfway down. Valor's not really in a position to use his Shumika, and he'll forfeit that case. Woos is able to get off, reposition, evades the shots, but he can't land them on Valor either. He'll run the hell away, get right out of dodge, forcing Valor to have to try and bait out this counter defuse, but the fires are out. This is a long trail. Valor's just going to try and stick. Woos brushes in, though, through the fire and gets the kill. That round is... good luck, John, because that was pretty much unexplainable.
It is like the exact same thing we had, I believe, round number 1 or 2 of the Villa matchup. But you know what? You did a good job of basically solo casting that round, so I'm not going to hand it off to you and try to do a little bit of trolling. So that's all right.
See, I did that on purpose, just so I wouldn't have to do the post-round analysis.
You are a bit of a genius, I guess, at points. But that round had everything but genius in the name. It was just everybody walking up main, constant trades occurred, and then we saw Outlast and Valor have the... Was it Valor or was it Barring, actually, on the Chanka? Either way, the Chanka...
Valor was Chanka.
Okay, I thought so. Valor and... and Woos were having the longest staring contest imaginable. For a second, I thought the server had, died for a sec.
Yeah, me too.
And then I saw him finally start shooting, and I was like, maybe not. But the excuse for Valor, I don't really think it'd be there. Maybe because the green kind of blended in with more green, kind of explainable, but still not really. But you've got this super whitish / black skin against yellow. Why you didn't see that? So bit weird. But Outlast just off the back of Woos. They are going to get the first round. And so far, no rehost required. We're still in the 5v5, so that's nice at least.
Well done to Woos. Actually, oh wow, I just realized that was a 4K for Woos. Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell was going on in that round, but apparently Woos did. 4K for him. What is Twist going to say? Don't leave me hanging, Twist. Y'all ever just what? What, man? All right, I guess we're just going to get left in the dark. Atheno has swapped off of the Finka, which I'm a little sad about. He's back on 0. He'll give blank the LMG, which means no Zoe, but still plenty of utility. I mean, 6 nades, 3 Gons. John, it's a plethora. It's a surplus. It's overwhelming as they now begin. Instead of a main clear, they'll swap. They'll do the Master over, and Twist has already been forced back. He'll drop downstairs. Snake and Bio are also downstairs. There are 3 people off site, but it's not going to stop Snake from getting the first pick on Blank.
And I'm not too sure if Outlast are fully aware of the weak presence in sight right now, so they're still going to be going for that default clear. Now a player down. Blank can, unfortunately, not use that LMG, although Atheno did grant it to him in round number 2. We have some of this roam game falling back a smidge, but not that much to really discuss. I mean, Bio and Snake, they're still playing buddy-buddy. The only person who truly gave up any positioning so far has been Twist, but he's still in a good spot near the top of main for that late rotation leading in through the study balcony. Plenty of the map to still be dissected through by Outlast, and they almost get a kill, a refrag near 90, but it looks like the smoke can fall back. Barring can now start to waste a bunch of time. Nobody can properly extend into 90, although the Salvatars get popped on the wall. They'll also deploy as well because I guess the mute jammer was destroyed or just not there because Bio has one in his back pocket. So at least that is another area of attack Outlast could bring to the table in the final minute.
Yeah, that was a slight whiff there from Atheno. Could have had the equalizer, but fortunately the kill will evade him for now. It's been a really slow round from Outlast so far. They'll finally spot out Snake below, and he'll get wallbanged by Tra. So the giant that is Snake on the battlefield is now dealt with. Tra ends up getting a second 2 onto Bio, so you also deny the C4 presence from below, and Tra is going to be looking for nades. He might have info. He's looking towards Valor's position by bar. Up it goes, but no, it was actually in the hallway to clear the shield. So not as much info in the site as I had previously thought, but wow, okay, he's just going to go for it. 3 for Tra now, blowing Valor sky high. And what was a 5v4 for West Garfield has slipped through their fingers. Now 4v2 in the favor of Outlast, though the sledge is very lit up. Looking for the trade, he'll find it. That's a 4th onto Barring, and he has time to go for the res onto Atheno, but 15 seconds left means that if Twist gets the right kill, he could win it with just that one. But they're stacking up. Outlast do not want to let this round get away from them. He'll find one onto Tra. There's still 3 more. Playday is going down from Atheno. There is coverage from Woos. He's got a deep enough angle, but it's just Jewel walking into study to deny it, and it's a 2nd round in a row for Outlast.
And although we had Outlast still technically lose the opening engagement twice, because I'm not going to count the disconnect as an entry kill for Outlast there, it was a clap back because we had West Garfield still remain throughout that roam presence for a very long time, yet not be in a position to trade against Tra properly. It was just 2 immediate kills for the sledge. They lost the man advantage, and we still had Tra alive, so he could play for grenades. There goes your Tachanka gone, one of your main pieces of denial to actually stop the site push in by the attack. And it just led to simple gunfights after that point. We still had a solid rotate pardon by Outlast leading in through study. They had that cutoff angle, basically left Twist no options but to get lucky at his timing as to when he wanted to swing. So a 2nd round for Outlast, and a much cleaner one at that, at least in terms of the mid game, but still, I felt like that had a lot more to do with the mistakes made by West Garfield and not the plays brought out by Outlast.
And there's another point here that I want to make, John. With the exception of Chalet, Outlast have not taken more than 1 round on an attacking side. They just broke their record. Again, on maps not called Chalet. We don't count Chalet because that's attacker-sided, definitively. Whereas Villa is a little bit more even. So the fact that Outlast have 2 rounds, have they already won the game?
That's basically GG at that point. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And confirm.
I mean, hell, if Outlast get 1 more, might as well be 7-0.
Yeah. That point, nothing that West Garfield can really do.
You might as well stop playing.
Yeah, potentially. Twist might have to go on the power rankings again just to see him go back down to regulation position. Only slightly above Heist.
Oh. Relegation?
Yeah.
You just had a Twitch chat moment.
Ah. My bad. Anyways, back for the round here. Outlast still doing their default clear. Tra losing a lot of health. And we've got some, I guess I should say some decent team play because there's Vert being held above. Bio is getting aggressive, although the mute now falls back. The vertical's still there. Tra is alive, though. He'd go for that grenade play again, but it looks like he's looking for a potential Kite Claw, although it's just mute jammers on the board this time around. But he still catches somebody. It's actually not Tra. Woos instead will eliminate Twist first and foremost, and there is the opening duel for once. A win for Outlast, 5-4 now.
The analyst desk talked about Woo's not having a great start to the season so far, but he is 5-0 in the first 2 rounds. He's looking to change his luck around. And there's still downstairs presence from this attack. They have not cleared Closet, though. Tra is taking this fight against the Jaeger, but he spams through the wall and then continues staring at it, so he'll get swung on by Snake. Wooz gets another. Snake refrags on Atheno, though, still holding downstairs. He's looking for another, looking for a third. I think that's Jewel, the ace, coming in for the assist. Someone needs to be pinching out this Jaeger actively, and there's Wooz finally coming through. Triple kill for him. Bio will quickly escape back upstairs, not wanting to deal with that, with the Iana, I guess, tearing through the rest of his team. Drones going out, I believe, spot barring in Closet. They likely know that Bio has rotated back as well. They have pings on something in Boar for whatever reason. But, I mean, 45 seconds left in a 3v2 with both these defenders kind of towards the bathroom area. Outlast are looking pretty good.
Only problem is, though, Blank is the player with Case. He's got to transition fully, because if not, he might be met with the Mossberg by Bio or Barring. But now that Bio does get a bit deeper inside of Trophy Room, that's not going to be the case, allowing for more freedom here by Blank. Once again, though, this last few moments of round number 3 might more or less just come down to gunfights and not so much this plant position. Here comes Barring trying to swing wide. Bio catches one off screen, but Wooz is still going absolutely insane. But it's all up to the Iana now, having to ace in this position. Spots of the smoke, but no, they're caught on the vault. Barring will punish West Garfield. They finally get their round win on the defense, but man, that is such a tragic position for Wooz to put himself in.
The vault. He vaulted to try and get a deeper angle because he didn't want to take the close engagement against the smoke around the door frame, which is completely understandable, but at a range like that as well, I mean, the sound is going to be so clear. Barring likely heard the vault, and as soon as he heard that step off the floor, he swings and catches Wooz off guard. That was 1 kill away from not only being around from Outlast, but an ace for Wooz. And alas, it is not to be. He'll settle for a 4K. He's gotten 2 in this game so far. In fact, John, round 1, Wooz had a 4K. Round 2, Tra had a 4K. Round 3, Wooz had another 4K.
Are we detecting a pattern?
I'm a little... Now, well, yes, Outlast have 2 attacks. I'm a little worried that if West Garfield shut down one of those playmakers, then Outlast is just going to be dead in the water.
Especially after, so far, a rather slow performance by Blank. I think he died in the entry at least once, and just hasn't been doing yeah, he died immediately on the Finka after Athena was like, yeah, you can have the LMG, why not? And now he's the one back on Finka with no LMG, a little more respectable with just the spear, but still, good kit, good secondary utility, you know, just a good round-out operator altogether. But yeah, Outlast, they've just been going for a lot of solo plays, more or less, in terms of how they win their rounds, it seems like. Or at least they have one player doing all the heavy lifting, and the rest of their teammates are just kind of in the background, just kind of not even fully enabling these people to do their job. It's just a lot of self-enabling by both Tra and Woo so far. So again, that team aspect, something that West Garfield struggle with. Same thing can be said for Outlast as well. So if that doesn't get changed by either team, it's going to still be a very odd round to dissect.
Outlast are just moving on through, not really worrying about that top floor where Snake is playing. I mean, Tra has already pushed all the way up that piano hallway. They've made a hole into living room. Snake is on main stairs. And I don't know if anyone from Outlast is actively watching it, but nevertheless, he won't flank. Twist will open the hatch in 90. I guess the Legion will simply post up here. Wooz has made his way into library. Tra now in piano. Outlast are just taking map control bit by bit. They'll drone further, walk in, take a room, drone again. It's very slow but steady progress for Outlast, and what I like about it is it's very safe.
Don't have a potential chance of dying just yet. I think the only thing to maybe worry about for Outlast is a potential flank by Snake, but he's still kind of brewing up that idea. Barring is actually get rid of Tra early on. One of those playmakers you were talking about earlier, Crow, is already gone. They just really have to focus down on Wooz, and that is a lot of the power play positions by Outlast, or at least their power players, sorry, already gone. With still a minute left to kill, that's a huge instant kill for West Garfield so far.
Jewel is right outside the site as Barring gets a second one, but Jewel is stumped by the Banshee, worried about one angle when he should have been looking at another. In comes Atheno on the Finka. He'll light up Valor, but no kill just yet. There's another double up from West Garfield. Woos can't hit his shots. No one from Outlast can get a kill. It's flawless for West Garfield as the team play on the site really shines through.
And that's kind of the problem we talked about. It is the inability to attack for Outlast. They were, although going for a safe strat, it still backfired. They still lost the opening gunfight by Barring. He found 2 kills on the Kaid, and their late rotate into Laundry was, although late, but it seemed rushed. Jewel had really no intel to work off of. He didn't even open up the launcher to begin with. He just kind of solo walked in through the doorway next to Jukebox, and then just died. So that minute little intricacy just fell flat in its face as well, and Outlast are now showing their core problems once again of they just don't look clean on the attack. And even on the rounds they won, again, we've mentioned a couple times, it was more or less off the backs of just one player, and that was it. Only 2 rounds they won off the back of Tra and then Woos.
Yeah, it's... we need to see the other people of Outlast step up.
Yes.
Because they can't keep relying on just 2 people to win them attacks. Now, I'm sure that we'll see more out of Outlast come the defensive half.
10 seconds to
But
insertion.
you want as many rounds as you can get, obviously. You never want to just be like, oh yeah, 2
5
rounds?
seconds to go.
Whatever. We don't need to play the rest of the half. We can just throw. No. You want to garner as many points as you can, obviously. That's how the game works. And West Garfield are bringing very similar operators, but just very different style of defense. They got the shield top main instead of in books, and even a shield top red, I believe it was. Was I mistaken, or was that a shield top red?
No,
It was right. Nope.
And now it's
never mind.
gone.
Valor just took it down.
They heard you. Now they're changing it.
Man, all right, they're putting it back in vault. Never mind. It is almost the same.
Didn't pick up the ADSs though. I wonder if they're still going to have somebody play red, because you can just move a little bit further. You watch Skull, and for a mostly steady push, that is a great position to hold to make sure that they still have to kind of bottleneck themselves and have to deal with multiple sets of lines of sight, essentially, against the defense. Outlast so far, they're not going to have to worry about that just yet, though. They still need to clear out the players that are stacked up in main stairs. Twist actually did rotate some of his ADSs to help out Barring, so what a great team play for the Jaeger, and now they can hold onto this key position for much longer than probably expected.
And Tra, of course, because of the shield placement, cannot nade it from below. Biologic is on a hard floor. So he and Barring are going to be pretty tough for Outlast to deal with, especially with that fire coming in on the main study door to the balcony, so they can't just walk in there. And it looks like we have a full rotate from Outlast. They do not want to mess with that main stairs clear. This is, wow, yeah, the entire team going to move over to Master with the exception of one that they leave on the balcony. Now, well, you know, sure, that's all well and good, but I would have liked to maybe see that play a little earlier, because they're trying to make a full Master rotation with a minute 15 left on the board, and they're pretty much starting their attack from scratch now.
Especially still having Tachanka and the smoke as well on the board. Don't get me wrong, no one's directly playing in red. There's no ADSs, no magnets there, but still need to worry about that. And a Nitro Cell. Oh,
wow.
A big double opening for Snake. That's 2 very important players gone, and the man advantage now swiftly in the favor of West Garfield Park over a brilliant play by Snake.
Yeah, blank and Tra, wrong place, wrong time. When you go for a swap like that, you have to imagine the defenders are already set up perfectly to counter it because you're doing it so late. Snake was in the perfect position. And, well, Tra and Blank were 2 bunched up. Now we're in a 3 versus 5. Snake is still downstairs. Who's and Athena are looking to try and shove themselves through the skull doorway with Jewel supporting from study, but they're unable to make any headway just yet. Jewel has no angles he can use against the defense. He'll just walk into the main stairs shield and win against Twist. What the heck? It doesn't matter, though, because Bio and Valor are holding onto the side, Barring simply finish off the low HP Jewel. And after a very confusing round again, Outlast will lose. And WGP take the lead.
And there wasn't really much to go on about there, really, except because Outlast took forever doing that rotate. That was the reason why they lost. Because, again, we saw Outlast changing their idea of not wanting to go for a master clear. Instead, they wanted to take main. clear out the stairs and go for study pressure early. We saw how quickly West Garfield adapted their style and directly put everything to slow down and completely shut out Outlast, funny enough, when they tried going for that study and main stairs play. But for Outlast, they took way too long to make up their mind of maybe we don't have enough util/coordination to actually get rid of all the magnets, ADSs, and then some. So they wasted so much time. And once again, West Garfield, quick on the adaptation there in the last round. They just pivoted back once again. It's like they never skipped a beat, giving them a very simple round on their defense, having the advantage now. And they get to get a trophy, which has not been a good sight for Outlast. Only been played once, but they won it almost off the back of Woos, but just fell short after a singular misplay on that vault.
Right? I mean, what did it take to almost win that round? It took a 4K.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they had any semblance of a chance, If Woos aces, they win. But if Woos, gets one pick and dies, do they just completely crumble? That's what Outlast have to prove now, that they can do it without someone going absolutely massive. Atheno has swapped onto Jackal now, so he's playing a bit of a carousel of operators. Maybe that'll make the roam clear a little bit easier. He's the one carrying Case, which is a little bit odd to see from a Jackal. Not quite sure why they wouldn't have Jewel doing that, but I guess they would rather have the AK-12 up than the C7E. There is a downstairs roam they have to worry about, though. And once again, with that C4 presence and what it just did to them in the last round, I kind of questioned the decision to ignore it.
Well, we've got Woos already in study. Could maybe catch somebody off guard, but looks like Twist is just waiting patiently. Someone drones him out and will eventually begin to dwindle a little bit lower down into the building. So no initial kill just yet. Outlast just trying to do the exact same kind of style of play they did last time when attacking this site. But again, if we do not see that team play, if we just have the Woos show again, but even if that gets stopped, I mean, there is probably no good chance of us seeing that 3-3 split. But maybe this first kill could come much faster than what I expected, because both Blank and the Jaeger of Snake are rather close to one another, and Snake has been kind of that make or break individual who can win those gunfights early on, so maybe if he's gone, that could be a huge glimmer of hope for Outlast.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been
Snake
dropped.
is all the way back. He seems to be kind of baiting that info on Bio to try and get Blank to push in, but he'll allow the Zoe to establish an angle on the doorway. Blank is very exposed, though. Could easily be blindsided, and there we go. Right on cue. Snake peeks out of art. Outlast had info on one, but it wasn't enough. Didn't know about the Jaeger.
Attackers recovered
They'll
the
try to just ignore that, I guess, and walk into Boar, knowing that two people are off-site. They'll win the fight against Barring. Smoke goes out to cover the rotate into Astro. Woos is just going to push in deeper. He nearly sees the Aruni, but he'll start wading through the smoke. Tra's getting that plant down. This guy is prone. Woos, just look to your right. No, he'll miss the shots. Tra goes down. The castle is going huge. He'll finally get taken out. But now Jewel is on the floor, leaving Woos in a 1 versus 2, and he'll almost die to the Breach of Valor. Woos is 1 HP. The C4 finishes him. What? That was almost a beautiful adjustment, a TTK-style adjustment there from Outlast. And then they just didn't see the people they needed to.
I don't even know what the thought process of Twist was there. I was gonna really yell at him almost for trying to kill Chase, but I think he genuinely had no idea Woos was that close. So I guess I cannot fault him that much. But that was such a that was just the expression there on that round. We had nobody aware that Snake was in art. He gets a freebie. That's the entry again for West Garfield. There was a slight change for the attack there for Outlast, yet it was still cooking in the oven, essentially, that play. It was not prepared and ready for the eventual play. They just they had soggy bread basically at that point, and kind of spoke for itself. It was just a poor execute. It didn't seem like the cohesion was really there for Outlast, and they're going to face the ultimate price for it. They are a 4-2 going in the defense, but again, they don't have a lot of good attacking rounds. So I guess still getting away with 2 is better than nothing, but I feel like after a whole week of play, you would really begin to fix your attacking flaws, but so far, apparently not.
5 seconds to insertion.
I think Woos also pushed maybe too far
Attackers have
in,
located a bomb.
waiting through that
Attackers are
smoke,
heading out to defuse a bomb.
Sure, it means the defenders can't see you, but you also can't see the defender. So bit of a double-edged sword. We'll see if Outlast can do any better on their defense. We know they can be a much better defending team than attacking. They'll be bringing the Echo. So a lot of info on the side of this defense, with not only the Echo, but the Pulse as well. Info denial in the form of the Mute and the Vigil. See how West Garfield deal with it, rocking a very similar operator lineup as Outlast, only with a Hibana instead of the Ace.
Well, for West Garfield, just trying to go in through the study side, kind of like what we saw by Outlast. Interested to see if we can see that like proper denial, especially when we have the fallback eventually occur by Outlast, but maybe with barring jumping the gun here, that might not happen. No, he just loses outright to Tra. So far, a much better style already for Outlast as they have transitioned now in their defense. Again, I mentioned just briefly that their attacks are not always great, but at least their defense so far hasn't been bad, and Tra has been able to waste a lot of time and resources before finally dropping down and joining sides with Blank as he finds a nice C4 kill, and we're already in that 5 versus 3 favoring Outlast. A lot of this top floor pressure has been almost alleviated completely. The only person left to stand right now is Twist. He's completely isolated, but because Pulse is across the map right now, he cannot gather that much intel, and there isn't really a lot of C4s left besides in the pocket of Jewel to actually kill the sledge applying this vertical pressure.
And Jewel will let it go. I believe it's pre-placed on the ceiling right now. So whenever he gets the call to blow it, probably from the Pulse, if that ends up landing a kill, that could just be... I could lock out the round right then and there. It'll only succeed in half damage to Twist, though. But that sledge probably counting as lucky stars. In comes Valor. Tra has no idea. Completely blindsided by the Zoe. As Valor continues to trek through mud, but there's another player there. It's Blank with the pistol shooting him in the back. Meaning that it's a 2-man advantage for Outlast. Under a minute for West Garfield to try and salvage this. And Twist, while he is flushing out a lot of positions, has not found a kill just yet. And as Bio sends some shots towards the way of China, Outlast know exactly where these last two players are. One laundry, one upstairs. With Twist just kind of sitting back and fishing for picks, none of which Outlast are willing to give him. Biologic is going to drone in, maybe supplement the vertical presence with some info. Otherwise, it's going to be completely up to Twist to try and cover him, and Bio's just moving in solo. Twist is going to try and make a play down Astro Stairs. Flash goes in, but the Pulse wins the fight with the pistol again. Echo drones are still out getting info on Bio, denying the plant. Jewel gets the final pick, and Outlast win their first defense.
Well, we had Tra get the opening pick. That was pretty straightforward. Fell back after wasting a lot of time, and then I guess West Garfield weren't expecting a heavy presence in living room. Did they expect Outlast to only want to play on the top floor and then just retreat back to the site itself? That seems pretty dumb because you can still hold a lot of particularly strong angles to make sure when you see that, fall down another floor by the attack that you can, deny a lot of those sight lines, and it basically forces just laundry and then I would suppose pantry. So that seemed a bit odd for West Garfield Park to not really fully clear everything out and just only try to solo hunt Tra. And at that point, everything just went south once again. Athena now in the Clash. Something interesting to note. Brings her out every now and again. And I feel like probably for Aviator, it's probably one of the only good sites for Clash on this map. So at least we get to potentially see her truly shine, and that could maybe allow more stalling to occur against West Garfield, perhaps, Crow.
Not only is it a good sight for her, but against West Garfield, remember the Analyst S was highlighting that their team play has not necessarily been the best, especially when it comes to utility. So this clash could certainly stump the attack for quite a long time, maybe even win the round.
5 seconds remaining.
Blank also on Ella. That's, I would like to see if he's running the shotgun or the Scorpion. He's just got the pistol out. Swap. Come on, Blank.
Oh.
And, okay. It's just a Scorpion.
Boo.
That's okay. We'll see if West Garfield can deal with it. They have plenty of nades. 2 pairs. No sledge, so they're missing out on some. I mean, it's entirely possible, because, right, normally the Clash plays, like, around Skull or Book's hallway, so she could be very susceptible to nades from below.
Just a matter of if West Garfield want to implement that in their play. I mean, they have the Buck. That's Twist rocking him. So they want to go for more of a main and study play. That's a given. So they could maybe catch Clash off guard, perhaps. But I feel like they would want to use more of their grenades, probably for just getting the shields out of the way, perhaps, and then maybe just saving them for Clash later after those shields are already destroyed. Especially since like Valor's utility is still fine for not only, you know, just finding kills if you consider its gun utility. There's Blank already dead, but those concussive blasts are a great way to, you know, kind of dislodge Clash and make her a very vulnerable target. So both the grenade players and Valor as well are going to be very high value targets to make sure you keep alive here for the offense, especially now that they've got the opening kill and are still doing a very good job in terms of vertical. I mean, everything is going according to plan. It's just Atheno now in the top of main. No one here to back him up. So this is a fantastic spot for West Garfield, to say the least.
Where was Blank when he died? I have no idea where he is. Atheno almost got blown up by a nade, but he'll live. He's currently trying to hold off 2 people by himself. A Clash with no support is basically useless. It looks like Jewel is finally coming in for the assist. He's got gas canisters to try and compound with the Clash to keep those attackers at bay. Snake takes a lot of damage from it. Tra gets droned out by Skull. And Jewel, no! Team kills the Clash! What a blunder! It was looking good. Outlast were delaying so much time with her. And Jewel says, no, you know what? It's too powerful. It's not fair. We don't want it. Tra will at least get one back on to Barring, but they lost such an integral part of their defense.
40 seconds left, and Outlast still at that disadvantage because of the fact Jewel just straight up went red on red in that altercation. Woos with a long angle down through Hunting, gets rid of Snake. Now 3 versus 3, things looking slightly better. And finally, Valor begins to hop inside of 90. With this extension still alive and well by Outlast, though, he might not be in a great position. Twist will fall off screen by the hands of Tra. Valor spots at least 1. Now the Momai is dead. 2 versus 2 as the Zofia continues to trudge more and more closer towards the site. But there isn't much time left. They might not be able to get a plan down because how far away Bio is, but Valor still going big in terms of the kill department. It's just 1 player left, and he wins that with the LMGE. West Garfield continue to hold on, and just to think, Crow, if we maybe had the Clash alive, that could have been an entirely different round.
I mean, probably, because Outlast would have had way better coverage. I mean, they were starting to bring the round back thanks to the efforts of Tra. I mean, he gets 2 kills, evens the odds. The man count even swings in the favor of Outlast. And then they just couldn't kill Valor. Valor got 4. Only denied the ace by Atheno's own teammate. And it doesn't matter how good your hold is. It doesn't matter how well you're playing off your utility. If you can't win your fight and you can't kill one guy, your entire defense falls apart. Case in point, Valor single-handedly, completely ripping the round from their hands. And now, Outlast, what could have been an even game, are at a 5-3 deficit.
Still time to improve, though. Hopefully they can not try to shoot each other anymore. Heading now to Trophy Room and Statuary. Looks like they'll try to go for, I wouldn't say a closet holder, because I don't feel like they have enough util for that, but they are having a very extensive roam, perhaps, in the bottom floor. Maybe to potentially go for Nitro play, perhaps? Or just be a very volatile early in the round. Tra's potentially opting to go for a spawn peek, but he thinks better of it. So not going to be an early kill for Outlast or an early death. It's still completely even. But Outlast, yeah, having a big emphasis on this roam game. Don't mind it. This pressure underneath can be great for your grenade players and also to deny the Kai claws or the mute jammers depending on where they're placed. So not a bad idea on paper. Let's just hope Outlast do not get overzealous in these positions and just die way too early.
Yeah, that's kind of the risk with roaming that heavy on this map, especially in places like Living. If your hatch isn't open, and you're very unlikely to fall back if the attackers are actively pushing you. So hopefully Woo stays safe for his sake. If you're West Garfield, though, you want to clear him out as soon as possible, but you're not diverting too many resources to it. Woo's knowing this is just going to fall back, leave it to Tra and Jewel instead. C4 goes up from Tra right outside the boar doorway, I guess waiting for a sound call. I think it's right under that barbed wire. So as soon as someone walks into it, Tra will likely let the C4 rip. But otherwise, all that downstairs presence that we just saw from Outlast is largely fallen back with the exception of those 2 C4 op.
There goes a grenade, I believe it to be, to break the barbed wire, or at least try to. And still a pretty slow start by West Garfield.
The C4.
I think so, but not too sure if it did the barb. Just the visuals look a little. Oh, no, I think it definitely did break the barb. I would really hope so. This game has tons of bugs as is, but I would like to think it would get destroyed in that time frame. Outlast still have a good chunk of their roam game in this middle floor. Nobody is here to clear that out just yet. Bio is on the window repel and Astro, but he doesn't have case, so that's okay. Barring has the case, actually, but I'm not even too sure where he is. Oh, okay. He's walking in from AV, now joining up in a trophy. They're going to go for more of a trophy plant here, which is not bad because they have that player stacked up in Astro for the cutoff angle. It's just a matter of, again, if they can get this opening kill just yet, and it looks like they do because Athena gets dropped via grenade.
Jewel still downstairs is going to have to go huge with this Nitro, especially as Snake gets 2 opening picks into the site onto Blank and finishing off the downed Cade. Ooze on Astro looks the complete wrong direction. Plant is going down from Barring, and there's no C4. Tra just dies, so does Jewel. It's a 3K for the, or a 4K for the Iana, and match point for West Garfield.
I guess anything you can do, I can do better, is the rebuttal by West Garfield there, because still had the Iana find a 4K, but one thing that they did, where Outlast didn't, is they had, you guessed it, they had team play. It wasn't just Wooz doing everything. He got his kills. That was it. There was still a ton of backup via bio on the window repel. More than one thing to worry about for Outlast. Their roam game wasn't cleared out, but it basically became nullified via how much pressure there was on the top floor and the Nitro cells just completely whiffing. And if not whiffing, just not having those defenders in the right position to have a C4 where it doesn't actually whiff or doesn't get thrown up at all, unfortunately. So match point already for West Garfield, and not even the defensive rounds are looking good for Outlast. Just everything about this best of one is just horrendous so far by Outlast. I hate to be so mean, but it's kind of true, Crow.
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of rounds 1 and 2, again, relying on, you know, Wooz or Tra getting 4Ks every round is not a recipe for success. Athena 0-7. He has got to find the board. I mean, we need everyone from Outlast to be firing on all cylinders. It can't just be Wooz. 11-6. I mean, the closest one behind him is Tra, 8-9, who sure, you know, has 8 kills, but he's died every single round. Nobody else on the team is negative, except, or nobody else on the team is positive, except for Wooz. Now Outlast have to take a perfect site rotation in order to bring us to OT. As for West Garfield, I mean, you have Valor at 10, you have Snake at 10, even Bio is positive today.
5 seconds left.
Everything's going right for West Garfield right now, and Outlast are struggling to put up a
Attackers are
fight.
moving out to locate a
I think
bomb.
struggle might be a bit of an understatement, honestly. Even struggling to make sure they can't even kill their own teammates at some points is very worrisome. Now heading in a dining room, it feels like they have ran out of options at this point. And again, how they got this round win was more or less off the back of West Garfield just forgetting what a drone is and having no idea Snake was still in living room. That was the bottom line. They gave that man way too many kills, and if my numbers are correct, maybe all of his kills in that round. I recall he might have found a 3K, if not just a 2K on that round. So again, the inactivity of Outlast tied in with just their general lack of team play in comparison to how West Garfield have been playing. It's just been a recipe for disaster, and the proof, is just in the pudding right now because it's 6-3 favoring West Garfield, a stat line that probably a lot of us weren't going to expect because almost all of us but Carter, who somehow has a massive third eye, is everyone else was just voting on these guys to actually lose, but they're not.
Massive third eye for his massive forehead.
Well, they didn't need to go that far, but all right.
Lucy will get tracked by the Jackal, and Mute is next, but both of them are on the bottom floor. So not too much of an issue for the anchors if they're getting Jackal tracked. Actually, Tra was in the basement, so actually that Jackal track will force him back onto the site. So maybe doing more than I had originally expected of that Jackal track.
Oof.
But Blank has an answer to the sledgehammer. As Twist sledges down, he gets blown up, and Blank will once again start off this round with a C4 kill. So they will deny a lot of that vertical presence, which is great for the defense. There's a minute 15 left, and something we've seen about West Garfield is that people like Snake and like Valor will just walk in and get kills, but Valor can't do that when Wooz just swings him. Blank is the only member of the defense lost for 3 kills and now West Garfield have Snake and Biologic floundering in a 2v4.
A little off topic, but I feel like probably having someone like the IQ might have been a better option here, but I'll probably deep dive that later on. Snake is just in memo and kills Jewel while his back is turned. So things are still looking potentially winnable for West Garfield as they enter the site now. They can go for a plant. Snake's in a good spot to cover unless a flank happens, but he's technically watching that position. He hears false audio, or at least just anticipating that flank while Bio tries to get aggressive. Snake repositions at just the right time, finds one, almost a second, but still, plant being attempted. It does not matter. West Garfield technically had the upper advantage here. Smoke gets tossed to deny a vital portion of this map. Biologic springs up at just the right time, and Snake, the final kill of the round, even on their best defensive site, Harrison. They're not going to end it out. It's going to be a win for West Garfield entirely. They take it 7-3.
2v4, I think?
Yes.
For Snake and Bio? 13 for Snake in that round. I mean, not only was this a win that we didn't expect, except Carter, it was pretty dominant. I mean, except for the round that Woo's 4K'd in round 1, that Trough 4K'd in round 2, and then Blank 3K'ing on Dining, they didn't win any. They just, I don't know what it was. The team was just not there today.
Just the best way to put it, yeah. There is really nothing else. Maybe our analysts will have a better remarks to say about this matchup, because honestly, I think we've had enough said here. So, analysts, please take it away.
I sure hope that we have a bit more to say. It might be a little tough, though. First off, let's start, Connor, on the side of Outlast. They could not get the ball rolling, and it sure doesn't help when you have a player going 0-8.
To be fair, if you look at Atheneo's deaths, he might have just went down in history as one of the most unlucky players in a game. It was ridiculous how many times he got floor-naded, just sold by his teammate, TK'd on Clash,
Yep.
shot in the back. Honestly, I don't even know how many gunfights he had in that game. Maybe like 2.
You know how you say took 1 for the team? He took 8
like
for the
7
team. Yeah.
or 8. He took a lot for the team. But overall, once again, Outlast couldn't get their attacks in order. There was a little bit of just hope in those first 2 rounds. Tron Woo's going huge, looking good, looking strong, and then it was just over and over again. Mistimed aggression. The big one that sticks out is that statue defense where they know the guy is stuck in closet, so let's just jump into bathroom window where he has head holes and challenge a shotgun face to face. That one hurt. CJ, you were very upset about that one.
Speaking of faces, look at this.
If I want to talk about that one real quick, why the hell, right? They have the case, because here's the thing, JWL dropped it, which JWL, you should never be dropping the case. You need to be planning, buddy. 3-8, you better be planting. First off, he dropped the case, gave it to the Zofia. And the funny thing is, the push was coming from like landing. You have to push from landing, which implies you can't plant into master. I just hated that whole development, right? That was just so goofy. And it really sums up the game for Alice. It was just a goofy game on their part. But I do want to say, West Garfield, I love the attack roll switch.
Yeah, I was going to say there was something seemed right with the former entry player playing entry and the career support player not playing the Zof LMG.
Yeah, I greatly, strongly, passionately dislike when Bio plays. He gets on a team and he does this roll roulette, plays what he wants. Give Valor the fragging off. See what happens. He had an incredible round, right? We saw it. You saw it. Did you see it? You saw it.
I did.
We'll see more of that. Hopefully it's not just a Villa thing, because some teams it is. You know, maybe that happens and the rolls end up that way, but I hope it's permanent.
Well, I can ask him about that if you'd like.
Please. Ask him.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's ask Bio a couple questions. Bio, big win for you guys right now. Was this a win that you guys needed at this juncture?
I think we needed it for like our confidence because
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of played, I would say, the easiest teams in this stage kind of early, so not getting like those 3 points that we had before is like definitely put like some stress on us. So yeah, we definitely needed this.
Now, Cookies himself, he was a bit curious about some of the role switching today, some of the operator choices. Does this seem like you guys have started to settle into the roles you want to play and the operators you want to play?
Yeah. I mean, I had an idea at the beginning because like when we picked up Barring, it was kind of like a day before the transfer window closed, and like I had an idea for like what Barring would do if we picked him up and like how I kind of wanted him to play. I would say like in our scrims, why we kept doing it on game days, because our scrims it worked really well, but obviously scrims and game day are two different things. So after we lost last night, we were just like, all right, let's just change it to something that'll work for right now.
Now, you do have another game today. Is it always a good thing to kind of get a win and then immediately have another game? Are you guys going to be running off that energy?
Yeah, definitely. When we lost our first game versus like TTK, like that kind of messed us up for Ariel because we lost that game, it changed our map bans. Because like before we already had prep what map bans we're gonna have versus Ariel, but since we lost that game, we're like, oh, okay, we might be kind of bad on this map. Let's not take him to that. So getting that win definitely has our confidence like high right now.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. Thank you for your time, Bio, and hopefully we'll be talking again after that next match.
All right, thanks for having me.
Have a good one.
You too.
Well, things are finally going north for West Garfield Park instead of south. A big win for them. And honestly, I'm kind of rooting for them now for the rest of the day. That was mightily impressive. They had a lot to show for. And let's not forget the fact, round number 1, they lost Barring to a crash. This could have been a 7-2 instead of a 7-3. Who knows? Or, maybe that just put them on this trajectory. But it's been a long day. We still have 2 more matches left. We're going to flip to a quick break. And when we get back, LSR again, this time taking on Aerial Arise.